This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, I started a few minutes early. I couldn't wait to get on. You know what I'm saying? Big win. I mean, this is a monster win from the Knicks, man. Down 20 points. I mean, they started the game off good. Celtics went Bush League and started hacking Mitch. Karl Anthony Towns, 2 crazy calls against them in the first half. One of them legit, 2 of them crazy. He goes out after he was dominating in the post, Josh, wherever Josh is. In the post, he was actually dominating in the post, Joshua. And the Celtics take a 20-point lead. And the Knicks climb back into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Hell of a third quarter. Hell of a fourth quarter. Have a chance to win the game. Jalen Brunson, after Jalen Brunson hits threes, hits big shots to get the Knicks back in the game, give the Knicks the lead. The Celtics come back, get the lead. Knicks tie it up. Celtics tie it back up. Game was all over the place as far as that's concerned. And then, great pass from Karl Anthony Towns to Brunson. Brunson misses the floater. But the Knicks dominate in overtime and pull this basketball game out, ladies and gentlemen. Contributions from everybody that played, to be honest with you. Even Mikal Bridges, who I was mad at throughout the game. I was a little upset with him. But he got the big steal at the end. Knocks down a big 3 at the end or in overtime. Contributions from everybody. Precious had to come in because they were doing the hack a Mitch. Came in and gave you some good, strong minutes. Deuce. 12 points tonight from Deuce?
Hit some shots.
Hit some shots tonight. You know what I'm saying? A very, very... This is a great win. And it's not a great win because the Knicks played well. It's a great win because the Knicks didn't play well. And they came back. That's why it's a great win. They did not play well. And they came back and won.
So encouraging.
And won. You know what I'm saying? Came back and won the basketball game. I got Corey from Rochester on the line. I'm gonna get you live in a minute, Corey. Stay easy. Tony, what's poppin' with you, brother? How you feeling, man? I mean, I know how you feeling. You gotta be feeling good. Because I'm feeling great.
I'm good, sir. Like I told you, my mic is good.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right. Win the game, win tonight, win the series. I really feel like that. And the manner in which we won, like you just ended off with, we did not play well at all.
Didn't play well.
We had moments. We had collective efforts
right.
in moments,
right?
For the most part, you know what I mean. Mitchell Robinson and that fouling him situation really changed the game. You know what I mean? I think it was 4 or 5 possessions.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And stuck with it, and I was mad. I was furious. You know what I mean? And I thought he waited too long to actually make that switch.
Yeah, part of it was he was standing at the table for a little while, but the game was going. right? And that's why Mitch fouled after he missed the free throw. He fouled so that they didn't have to call a timeout.
Oh, no. Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
but I mean,
Because Precious
in
was
the
there
midst
for a
of
while.
them, I'm talking about in the midst of them fouling Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I,
Well,
I get that part. Why
yeah.
Mitchell Robinson fouled to get him
No,
out.
no. I mean, but like he's at the line and he misses, they get the rebound. They can't call a timeout.
No. I'm talking about the consecutive possessions in which they were fouling Mitchell Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
All those times were opportunities to take him out.
Right. I mean, they would have had to call a timeout to do
But
it.
I mean,
They would have had to call a
you
timeout to do it. So I don't know
gotta
if
do something.
I don't know if they didn't want to call a timeout or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So they had Mitch use the foul to finally get him out. And that's gonna happen all game. That's gonna happen all series.
Even doing that, they could have did that earlier.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
You know that's gonna happen the entire series. You know what I mean? So now you probably might be a little bit more prepared. You know what I'm saying? If they start to do it again.
I agree, but in Mitchell Robinson's defense, they didn't do it down the stretch of the game.
Yeah.
And he was monumental down the stretch.
I think they didn't do it down the stretch because Luke Cornett is their designated guy to foul him. Right? You're not going to foul him with anybody else except for Luke Cornett. So Luke Cornett was in foul trouble, obviously, down the stretch. He wasn't in the game. So, I don't think they're going to do it with anybody else and waste their fouls. They don't think they mind wasting Luke Cornett's fouls.
I mean, I'm sure there's another guy on the rotation that if that's the strategy.
Yeah,
I
I think they'll probably keep. We'll see if they do it in game 2. You know what I'm saying? And if they do it in game 2, I would expect Tom Thibodeau to go to Precious a little bit sooner.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If they start doing it in the game 2.
And I don't think every time it was Cornett. You know what I mean? Because I know.
I think
I'm pretty sure
Holiday
did once. So it's probably designated based on how many fouls you have or whatever, how much time is left. But my point is, because if it's Cornett, even Mitchell Robinson, he could run, he can make himself. You're not gonna just stand there and you know what I mean, and wait to get fouled. You can make it difficult or whatever the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a, you know what I'm saying, it's a, you have to figure out, how many times are they gonna keep doing it? How many times they're gonna do it?
How do you feel about it in general?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I think if you want to, I think that if you're gonna do that, you should get penalized. That player should get 3 shots. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're gonna do. Okay, that's what you want to do. 3 shots. You know what I mean?
I do think it's an unfair interpretation of the rule, manipulation of the rule. I agree that if you're going to allow it as a strategic move, you should penalize it and make it something they got to think about.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. That's a good rule.
Because I think it stops the game. I mean, I get it. It definitely stops you from getting into your offense. You put even if he's making the free throws, right? It stops you from getting into a flow. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't get into your offense. You can't do this, that. You know what I mean? Frustrates that player. Mm-hmm. And big shout out to Mitch. They're doing it, but he stayed focused.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? Still came up with, big rebounds. You know what I mean? I mean, this is the kind of game the Knicks have to play. This is the kind of games they're going to have to win these games because, all right, it was 108, 105. That's what it ended up being. But really, that's overtime. The Knicks want to keep it low scoring. They want to keep it aggressive. They want to keep it with a lot of fouls. You know what I'm saying? And make it scrappy and gritty and dirty. And that's what this game ended up being. For, obviously, at some point in that third quarter, it was a little like, damn, are we going to lose by 30? You know what I mean? But then they just, they started knocking down shots. They stayed up here. They stayed mentally tough. You know what I'm saying? And that is what the Detroit Pistons series did for this team, I think. They helped them to be more mentally tough. You know what I'm saying? Mentally tough. Not afraid of the spotlight. I mean, they probably weren't anyway. Not afraid of the pressure, just mentally tough. You know what I'm saying? And it came out tonight. You know what I'm saying? Came out tonight. You know, just a great game by the Knicks. Corey, what's popping with you, my brother? You got to be feeling good.
Yo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I almost took out everything I was about to say, but I know y'all had to get the main details out the way, but I am pumped.
Got to be.
Pumped.
Got to be. Got to be.
Word, I'm pumped, Sim. Tony, what's up, my guy?
Corey from Rochester, ladies and gentlemen. Corey from Rochester.
What's good, family?
No doubt. Let me see how I'm going to start this off since I'm pumped up.
Start it off, brother. Start it off. Kick it off.
Yo, just like I've been telling the chat on your show, what I say, have faith. Mm-hmm. Have faith. You do that, good things are going to happen. And the way that how we fought back, incredible. Like you said, they didn't play well, and I agree. But sooner or later, when those threes wasn't falling for Boston in that second half, it's going to work in the Knicks' favor because now the Knicks know exactly what that team is about, shooting threes. But we're not just a three-point shooting team. We try to mix the game up with threes, paint, and rebound and transition. Mm-hmm. That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that 20 comeback win and stole one at their house on game one, woo! You cannot ask for nothing better more than that. And credit to Mikal Bridges. Stole the ball on D. Brown, thinking they're going to have a chance to tie it up. But Mikal says, not on my watch. Give me that rock. Give me that rock. Not today, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a great win, man. Just a great win. Just
yes.
Just a great
but
win.
But this is what everybody predicted, Sim, Tony. If we get one in Boston, and game one is a critical, they said the most important game of the series. Oh, man, 95% of the time, the team wins the series. But can you get a better start than that against Boston? Hell no.
Nope, can't get a better start than this. Can't get a better start than this.
No. And especially playing at one of the toughest places in the arena, TD Garden, where they won the most championships. Mm-hmm. And us being the underdog that people not even giving a chance in the series.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proven wrong again?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And this team plays better. They play well when they play better when they're the underdogs, I think. You know what I'm saying? When they are favored, it's almost like they take that for granted. They didn't take anything for granted. They got whipped by the Celtics 3-4 times in the regular season. They got beat. So, they were focused and they were ready. You know what I'm saying? And when they got down, this is where that mental toughness comes in. When they got down, they didn't stop. They just kept going. No. They just kept battling and they figured it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it was dirty, it was scrappy, but they figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Who cares how you win? You just got to do it. You just got to win.
Right.
You know what
I mean? That was on my mind during that second half. They probably said to themselves in that halftime, we know this team loves to put them in the hole, but we cannot allow this team just to bury us and thinking we don't have no grit and no fight. And this is what they do. They got the grit and they got the players with the fight. Because you're not going to expect to beat the Celtics being down in the hole and expect to win. Right. Either you got to keep the score competitive with them or you're going to get embarrassed.
Right. Yeah.
We
almost got embarrassed. We almost got, in the first half, I was getting pissed off. I'm like, why is Luke Cornett dominating the paint, getting rebounds, blocking shots?
Right.
Put back dunks. I was like, what is this? You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
The Knicks.
I had that some look in my eye, but you know what I did? I said, I know Knicks been through this before. Like Mitchell said, we've been through this before. Now, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
This can't be too difficult. And we're not, and I know the Knicks are not taking this team lightly, but come on.
No.
We got the squad that can hang with these guys. And I know we do. Because this is a whole different game now. This ain't the regular season no more.
Yeah. That's it. Well, we showed up tonight.
Yes, we did.
We showed up
Now
tonight.
we get a day to enjoy it.
Get a day to
and
enjoy
then get ready
it.
for game
And
2
now,
and see what happens.
see, now you can literally say, let's come back to the Madison Square Garden up 2-0. Because we're up 1-0, right? You got a chance to come back 2-0.
Oh, yeah.
And you know Boston's going to come out. You already know how they're going to come out.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're going to come out with fire in their belly. You know what I mean? But if we can withstand it,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
We got a hell of an opportunity.
You know, if we can withstand it, go up 2-0, that'd be crazy. But, you know, we got a lot to talk about with this game. Corey, man, I appreciate your time. You know what I mean?
You know that.
Be easy. You know, you can sleep easy tonight. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't lying. I'm a chow down like I ain't never chowed down before.
That's it. That's it, my brother. That's it.
I love y'all, man.
Appreciate
for real.
you, bro.
Love y'all to death.
And we love you back, man. Appreciate it. Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, man. All right, let's get in. Let's I'm gonna go with the box score. Then let's start getting into some things about the game. All right. Tonight, you know, the Knicks led in scoring by Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby. Both guys had 29 points tonight. You know, so OG definitely came up big when we needed him. You know, he was knocking down threes. He was 6 for 11 from the 3-point line tonight. 54%, shot 50% from the field. You know, he's 10 for 20 tonight. OG Anunoby. Jalen Brunson, of course, big shots all over the place. He shot 55% from the 3-point line, only 29% from the field. You know, it was tough for him to get inside for Brunson tonight. You know, that's something that we got to look at and pay attention to. Can we get penetration? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to go some different ways, I think, to get inside, to get in the paint, you know, to collapse the defense. Because Brunson struggled to get inside tonight, but shot 85% from the free throw line. He had 29 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Josh Hart, 14 points, 11 rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns, 14 points, 13 rebounds. Got into some foul trouble in the first half. You know, he was dominating. He was dominating a little bit in the first half in the post. Josh, where is Josh? He don't want to come back. He don't want to come out and talk about it because he said don't put him in the post. Well, he was dominating in the post. He only took 1 3-pointer tonight, Karl Anthony Towns. He was 6 for 13. 1 3-pointer. Scored his points within the 3-point line. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that the Knicks will look to, you know, continue to dominate. I think we got to figure out something with him guarding Jaylen Brown. We got to figure that out. I don't like that for the whole series, but you know what I'm saying? Tonight, we came out on top. Miles McBride finally got a showing from Deuce. You know what I mean? 11 points tonight. He was 50% from the field. Mitchell Robinson, 7 rebounds, 3 points. They're going to continue to do the hack of Mitch. Let's hope that Mitch can start tonight. He was 3 for 10 from the free throw line. Let's hope that he gets he can get up to 50, 60% tonight. You know, Precious came in and gave his little 5 minutes in the first half, you know, to help us out. I mean, you know, great game all around from the Knicks. Perfect win. You know, not a perfect game, but a perfect win. I guess every win is going to be perfect. For the Celtics tonight, you know, they were led in scoring by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Both had 23 points. Jason Tatum added 16 rebounds and 6 assists. Jaylen Brown added 7 rebounds and 5 assists. Derek White, he had 19 points, 11 rebounds. Drew Holiday, 16 points. Peyton Pritchard had 13 points. Kristaps Porzingis, ladies and gentlemen, went out. He only played 12 minutes. Didn't come back and play in the second half. So that's definitely something to watch for the series. Right? If KP isn't there, you take away a big offensive weapon from the Celtics. You know what I mean? Take away a big offensive weapon. On the line, we got Silk. Silk Sutton, what's popping, brother? How you feeling?
What up, brothers?
Chilling.
Tony Sim, man, this is a crazy ass game. I ain't gonna lie.
Crazy.
I thought we were done. I thought, come on, we can't let them blow us again out in Boston. Not again. Like you said, Sim, Detroit toughened us up.
Yeah,
but
man.
we gotta Mikal can't do. He played 51 minutes tonight, yo. We got to get him a breath somewhere in the game, somewhere. Maybe not Cam. Maybe I know Shamit must have bounced the check with Tim. If he ain't getting no minutes after that first quarter in Detroit.
Listen, if
we can't have, he gonna wear down.
If you're gonna give, if you're gonna give Mikal a break, I say do it with Precious, because you keep the same length.
But you're scoring. You think Precious played a good game today?
He only played 5 minutes.
He didn't look that good in the 5 minutes. While he was in it, didn't they go up on us? Only when they took him out, it was OG.
They was going on. They was already on a run.
Exactly. The momentum was already there.
Oh, the momentum was already there. It wasn't because of Precious. They was already there. He came in for Mitch.
Actually, the very first possession, he made a good play.
Yeah.
So you said keep Shamit on the bench, and if you taking out Mikal for at least 2 minutes, it's gonna be Precious.
Because you keep that length, and you add a rebound. And if it's only 2 minutes, that's
all Tim's gonna give him. He ain't gonna give him no 5 minutes. With the wing stop stuff, he ain't against this team. We already smaller than most of them. He ain't giving Mikal more than 2 minutes. He played almost the whole game this game, 51 minutes, and we played overtime. That's a lot of minutes. And a game 3 and 4, he ain't gonna be. I think that's why his mid range was coming up short. His legs probably was tired. He could play the defense. He got enough sense to hit that 1-3.
I don't know. I think this Bridges, in my opinion, has the body type to be able to withstand it. You know what I'm saying? He's very thin, so it's not like he's lugging him around a whole lot of weight. I think he has the body type to be able to withstand it. I think he's all right.
I think his minutes directly correlate his shooting though. I think it's proven when. Well, I shouldn't say proven. I think if he could get a little rest here. Now, granted, I'm not saying nothing about the minutes, because if you choosing to live with the defensive performance that he gave tonight, and the over collective contribution he did tonight, that might be worth the.
I don't know. He was he was 0 for 3 in the first quarter. 1 for 3 in the second quarter. 1 for 3 in the third quarter. 0 for 2 in the fourth quarter. And then in overtime, he was 1 for 2. You know what I'm saying? He was kind of shooting bad all game. You know what I mean? He started off 1 for, what was that, 1 for 6?
All right. So you saying it's not the legs, he just was shooting bad.
Shooting bad. I think, he started off 1 for 6.
Listen, again, I'm not arguing that he should have played less, but I do think fresher legs will give you better lift on your shot. I think the lift on the shot was part of the problem. I don't know if that was all game or late or just late, but you know what I mean? I think there's a correlation again. Yeah. But his effort overall.
You want to keep the size, and replace him with DeLon Wright for 2 or 3 minutes.
I don't know. I don't think it's like for me with Bridges. I don't think it has to do with the minutes. I don't, because I don't think he uses a lot of legs on his shot anyway. He uses more arm on his shot. It's not like he boom, 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 and gets high in the air and shoots it. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, his feet are just off the ground and he's fading away.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I don't think I just don't think he uses a lot of legs on his shot anyway. I think he's just not hitting. At least tonight, he just wasn't hitting. He still manages 14 points tonight, right? No, 8 points. 8 points.
Let me ask you a fellow a question.
7 assists.
Because I think the only reason Hackemish didn't go in the third quarter was because they was up by a lot and they didn't think we were going to come back, because we ain't come back on them all year, and because Porzingis wasn't there to have them, because they couldn't have Hornet using all the fouls on Mitch. So if Porzingis was there, they probably use some of them with Porzingis and then on Hornet to keep fouling Mitch, making him go to the foul line.
Right. That's true.
I don't trust. I don't trust Precious in those situations. I really don't. Yeah, he seemed like a guy who needs minutes to get warmed up to play real well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with Precious to me, right, is defensively, if he's in the game, if they're doing a hack of Mitch, and you decide to put Precious in the game, or if you're just trying to find some minutes to rest for Mikal Bridges, or if you just decide to use him at the 4 a little bit with Cat at the 5, I feel like there's more switchability defensively. You know what I'm saying? I was talking with my son earlier, and I think like if Precious, I'm still on it. I don't want to go too deep in it because we won, but if Precious was starting for Josh Hart, I feel like the switchability on defense would be, you would have 6'8" Precious, 6'8" OG, 6'7" Mikal Bridges. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't have to put Cat on Jaylen Brown because I hate that matchup.
Yeah. Or Tatum, because I see Cat being foul trouble all game. If we got to switch it, and Tatum, he's guarding Tatum or he's guarding Brown on the wing outside. He's gonna be in foul trouble all period.
I ain't gonna lie, son. It don't matter which one of those guys he guards, or really whoever he guards. Like he hasn't been great defensively. Like I feel like he's been a target, and Brunson's been a target, not just from Tatum and Brown, from whoever, you know what I mean? Whoever wants to take the shot.
Yeah, I feel like with Cat, though, guarding Jaylen Brown out on the perimeter, he's going to be in foul trouble. Because I just don't think he can move his feet fast enough to stop him. He's going to bump him with the body. You know what I mean? And so I think he'll get into foul trouble. I don't know what the solution is. You know, I just don't like that matchup. I don't like that matchup.
We got game 1, fellas. That's like I said. Give me game 1, and whatever happens after that happens. But give me game 1, and we can probably if Porzingis got diarrhea problems, he can't make game 2. That's even better for us.
Yeah.
With his stomach, because they say he got some kind of illness. So who knows?
And so beautiful game, man. Beautiful win. Silk, I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it.
OG, original gangster.
No doubt. OG came through tonight, man. 29 points for OG. Hit some big threes. Scored on the break. Took it to the cup. OG on a night when Karl Anthony Towns was in some foul trouble, didn't have it going in the second half. OG was able to step up and be that second scoring punch for the Knicks. And obviously, he's a defender. You know what I mean?
And for a game where Captain Clutch didn't come through in the clutch, the team found a way to win.
The team found a way to win. Yeah.
So that's what really makes tonight huge. Like that's a difference maker. You know what I mean? Like similar to, we've seen it. We've seen the Bridges game winner. We've seen a couple of Bridges blocks to end games and stop game winning blocks. So we've seen these impactful moments throughout the year, but I think they're rare and far and few in between. Yeah. But just to show that we could do that and do that in the playoffs, like, this is big.
Right. Jason Benjamin, thank you for the super chat. He said Mikal shows again he's a big game. He makes big game changing plays, and he did so tonight. You know what I mean? He knocked down a big 3 in overtime, and then he got the big steal at the end to close out the game. Big plays from Mikal Bridges tonight. You know what I mean? And he didn't shoot the ball well. 3 for 13, but he had 7 assists. He had 6 rebounds. He had 3 steals, and he had 2 blocks. You know what I mean? So, he fit in where he could get in. And I ain't gonna front. I was talking trash about him throughout the game. You know what I'm saying? I was talking trash about him. I was like, come on. When he got the 3 in the corner, got the pass from Brunson, I was like, you got to give me one. Got to give me one. And he knocked it down when he got that big steal. At the end, that was huge. So, he's not crying. He's not crying about shots. Not crying about his shots not going in. He's just continuing to play. So, what can I say? Can't say nothing. You know what I mean? Pharaoh, name Legion, thank you for the super chat. He says, Sam Tony, was good. 1 down, 3 to go, baby. Let's go, Knicks. 1 down and 3 to go. Sounds so beautiful to say. The art man formerly known as Steve. I like the name. Thank you for the super chat. Said, I told you, Tony, Knicks keep the 3-point makes close. We'll keep the game close with a chance to win. Missed free throws are the reason the game was close. No doubt about that. Missed free throws. Imagine if we made our free throws tonight. I mean, obviously, they're putting Mitch on the free throw line, but,
I mean, but nah, Brunson missed what, 2 or 3?
Yep. Brunson.
I know Hart missed one late
Brunson missed
game.
1. Brunson missed one. OG missed 1. Hart missed 3.
Hart missed 3. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, Mitch missed 7 of them. I mean, what do we expect? We know that's what's going to happen. Jason Benjamin, thank you for the super chat once again. Said Tibbs needs to hold practice tomorrow for free throws. I mean, really, it's just Mitch if you think about it. Josh Hart missed 3. Everybody else 3 for 4 for OG, 2 for 2 for Cat, 6 for 7 for Jalen Brunson, 0 for 2 for Campaign.
I'll say this. If the Knicks know Mitch got to come shoot free throws, they should all go and partake and support him.
No doubt about it. Parrish Duggan, thank you for the super chat. He said, man, if he had a great coach with a system and a clue, we could win a championship. Not challenging Cat's second foul, playing Mitch in the bonus. My God. I don't think either coach used the challenge all game. I don't know why.
Yeah, I thought there was that opportunity. There was one late too. That I thought
there was one late that he should have challenged. That was a foul on. It was I forgot. There was one late. I don't know if because the game is so tense, they were afraid. I thought Tibbs was maybe afraid to use the challenge. You know what I'm saying? Just afraid like. I don't want to use it, lose it, and then I throw away a timeout. You know what I'm saying? So I thought maybe, the game was intense. Maybe he was like, I ain't challenging anything. You know what I mean? It could be. You know what I mean? It's hard. I mean, the Knicks won the basketball game. I mean, he obviously did some things to push some buttons. He made some mistakes too, obviously, but he did some things to push some buttons. Greedy Grid said, wondering if the chat, thank you for the super chat, said, wondering if the chat is going to give Tibbs his credit for that game plan. Players actually executed today. So if you look at, and I wanted to get in and talk about some things that he did differently. You know what I mean? So we'll come back to this. Because, it's going to be people that don't want to give him anything. He's not perfect, but they're not going to want to give him anything. Parrish Duggar again, we are a coach away from going to the championship. Okay. If that's how it is. We got Nick from Jersey on the line. Nick, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
What's going on, Sam? What's going on, Tony? How you doing tonight?
Feeling good, man. Feeling really good.
Hell yeah, that was the best. I'm going to date myself here. That was the best playoff win since the Knicks eliminated the Miami Heat in the year 2000, Game 7, the last time that they played the Heat during that rivalry. That was the best playoff win I've seen in a long time. So very happy.
It's a great playoff win.
Yeah, man, great. I thought you nailed it on the head, Sam, when you said the great thing about this one was not that they played so well, but that they didn't play well.
Right.
They didn't play that well, and they still pulled off the win.
Yeah.
So it's like now if they're down 12 against Boston or down 15 or down 20 in game 2, it's like, hey, we did this before. We did this already. Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, they're going to – I think this is going to give them confidence going forward in the series. And I feel like at the worst case scenario, knock on wood, it'll be 2-2 after – Game 4, because the Knicks are going to win one in the Garden minimum. So, this makes it a series, winning Game 1.
Yeah, Yeah.
I ain't worried about the Garden, man. We got another game to play.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right, Tony. I'm looking ahead. You're 100% correct. I mean, shit, dude. If we could go up 2-0 on these guys,
oh my God,
that would be ridiculous. That'd be ridiculous. So, excellent.
Yeah, I mean, that would
excellent
be,
win.
If we go up 2-0, I mean, that'd be, you know, the thing would be the fans are gonna go crazy. The thing would be for the players to stay grounded. Don't look at the news. Don't watch any social media. Don't look at any content creators. Just stay grounded and stay focused. That's what the players would need to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think that they did things that they didn't play that good, but I think they figured out a way. And they didn't even play that good on April 8th when they lost to the Celtics in OT at the Garden, but they lost by 2 points in overtime.
Right.
And even that game, they didn't play that well. I think they kind of figured out how to put Boston in positions where, you know, they have a shot.
Yeah.
And they could kind of keep it close.
Yeah.
And even the game before that, I think it was in February, they were down by 4 points in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they were keeping it close. It wasn't like the first two games. So I think the Knicks found a little bit of a formula. I think a lot of it has to do with OG on Tatum. And, you know, as for Mitch, I think one way to get around this, and I don't think Tibbs is actually going to do this, but one way to get around it is to start Mitch and let him get into the penalty early in the game.
There you go.
Play Mitch, you know, start.
There you go.
Let's you know how there's a big adjustment between games 1 and game 2 usually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here could be the adjustment. Go with the Mitch lineup, start Mitch, let him foul Mitch, and all of a sudden, you know, we'll be in the penalty. You know, with 8 minutes left in every quarter, and then you put Josh Hart in there.
Right. There you go. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Stole my hot take, bro.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense.
I was saving that, bro.
Oh yeah, I mean, that wasn't my idea. I saw that on Twitter, but I'm like, yeah, this is what they should do. You know, it might not be ideal to have Mitch on KP, but it seems like the previous caller said KP's got the runs. He can't stop going to the bathroom or something. So
yeah, KP.
Man, it's actually a little bit embarrassing. I think that the Knicks, only 3 teams. Everybody's talking about belittling the Knicks having a second round ceiling, overlooking the fact that last year they almost really got to the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, they kind of burnt out with the injuries there.
Mm-hmm.
But overlooking that, only 3 teams have made the second round the last 3 seasons. It's hard to do, and the other 2 teams are the last 2 champions. It was Boston and Denver, and then now the Knicks.
And now the Knicks.
So only 3 teams have gone to the second round in the playoffs 3 years in a row. And I feel like, you know, the Knicks have not had an opportunity to meet Boston the last 2 years. They should have. Now they finally get to do it in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they were leading up to this. It was like the law of averages was suggesting that the Knicks were finally going to take a win against Boston. So I'm so happy it happened right now, game 1 in the playoffs.
So happy. You know what I'm saying? Because
man,
it just, you know, and the way that we won, we shot 42% from the field.
Yep.
You know, I believe we got out-rebounded. Right?
Yeah, we got out-rebounded by 7. Didn't shoot well. Didn't shoot free throws well.
And won the basketball game. Defense, hustle. It's just a will to win.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And,
you know, Brunson didn't shoot well.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
No, I said Brunson didn't shoot the ball well from the field.
Yeah.
You know, and Karl Anthony Towns ended up not shooting the ball well, or, you know, not getting shots down the stretch, you know, because foul trouble. And you know, it was an ugly game, and we won ugly.
Wait. Yeah. This is the normal Nick from Jersey?
Yeah, this is Nick.
Yeah, this is normal Nick G from Jersey City.
Why something sounds different about you? Like
I don't know.
Energy sounds different.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I'm very happy, and I don't want to take too much time from other callers, but yeah, let's get this win in game 2, guys. You know what I mean? That'd be great.
Do it. I can't wait for game 2. I'm excited for that. Nick, I appreciate it, man.
Take care, guys.
Peace. What you say, Tony?
I want to deep dive into that strategic idea of starting Mitch because it 100% negates the opposite, their strategic move of fouling him.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to get in the penalty early. Like you said, if Cornette is the designated guy to foul him, you got to make that adjustment by putting him in to do it. You know what I mean? It forces a lot of adjustments for the other coach.
It does.
And number one, I feel like it's something Tibbs preferences as far as like the anchor defensively. And I don't know. I think I like the idea. I definitely was gonna bring that up to you at some point. But
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I do. I think it's a great idea. The only thing I question is whether Tibbs would be afraid to switch up the lineups. You know, Tibbs is a creature of habit. You know what I mean? And now it takes him turning his mindset to coaching on the floor a different way. I don't know if he's going to do that. I don't know if that's something that he would want to do. Not at this juncture. You know what I'm saying? But
especially not when things are working. You won the game.
You won the game.
You lived with Mitch for so long, which I thought was a bad thing. You know what I mean? But then you won the game. So even, you know what I mean? Even that's standing with your philosophy.
Yeah,
basically.
You know, so it's just, you know, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's a great move. I just don't know, you know, after winning the game, you know what I'm saying, if he's like, you know what, why am I going to change anything right now? You know what I'm saying? Let's figure out what we do in that moment. You know, we can go back, we can look at the game, we can talk about it, figure out what we're going to do in that moment. I don't want to change it. I don't want to disrupt anything. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just speaking from what I think Tibbs is thinking. You know what I mean? You know, just from what Tibbs would probably, what I think he would most likely, how he would approach it. You know, but I would say this, I'm sure it would be something that's in the back of his mind if it really does begin to affect the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. Because it does. It negates everything, right? Like you said, now you got to bring Luke Cornette in to start fouling. Or you get into the penalty early. It affects everything. Changes everything. You know what I mean? Changes that. My question is, do they go to it so early again?
They probably don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Because they probably don't.
Right.
Especially if KP is unavailable.
True. Right? Because now they got to be figuring, okay, the Knicks know we're going to do it. So they probably have a strategy in place if we're going to do it. They're going to bring Precious in. You know what I'm saying? So do they even go to it? They may try to save it for the second half this time. Because Detroit basically did it in the second half.
Most of the time. I think they did it in the first half at least once.
Yeah. You know, so you know, they might try to, all right, you know, we're going to save this to the second half. Maybe they forget about it a little bit, and then we'll start doing it. You know, make them bring Precious in cold, having not played the entire game.
And it was so strategic because they were like in the midst of their run. I don't think they even took the lead yet. You know what I mean? So they used it to get the lead, then they used it to increase the lead. You know what I mean? I was so frustrated, bro.
Yeah.
I
hate that. And I was thinking about during the game, I don't think Tibbs would do it. Even if it's the right call, I don't think Tibbs would do it. I think Tibbs would be like, Tibbs would say that he's going to play the game with integrity. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not saying it's not integrity. I don't know. You know, it's a strategy, I guess, but I don't think Tibbs would do it. You know, I don't know if I would do it unless I was super desperate. If I was super desperate, I might do it.
To me, it makes no sense because it's away from the play foul, right? So it's stop. You know what I mean? It's basically
it's not even a basketball play.
Yeah, like in the sense with Brunson. Now, granted, they clearly was fouling Mitch before Brunson got the ball, but it's stopping basketball. Yeah, it's not a basketball play. It's basically preventing you from playing offense.
Right.
So I don't like the fact that there should be like I like your idea of 3 free throws. I do like that idea. So at least make them think about the strategy.
It. Right. Do we want to give him 3 free throws, or
and it makes the shooter more embarrassed if you missing 3?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, dude, go work on that joint.
Right.
Like, for real, you can't be missing 3 every time.
Right. Or 2 shots in the ball.
I like that.
That'll cut
I
it
think
out.
that stops it.
That'll stop it altogether. That's done.
I like the 3 because I don't think if you find a loophole, I don't think they should penalize you for finding a loophole. But this make you know what I mean? I think that's a fair balance. 3 free throws.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean, you might still do it. But 2 in the ball,
you might still do it, depending, right? But if you do 2 shots in the ball, then they're not doing it. It's done. It's done. You know what I mean? That's over with. Stats of the game, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks were out-rebounded tonight, 59-49. Only 19 assists for the Knicks, 18 for the Celtics. 10 steals for the Knicks, 4 for the Celtics. Only 2 blocks for the Knicks, 5 for the Celtics. Turnovers on par with what both teams have been doing for the season. 12 for the Knicks, 13 for the Celtics. Shooting, field goal percentage. Knicks shot 42%, the Celtics 35%. The Knicks shot 45.9% from the three-point line, the Celtics 25%. The Knicks only 54% from the free throw line, the Celtics 84%. Let me ask you this, Tony, and I'm going to get my man DJ Shuttle in on this too. The three-point shooting is reversed as far as percentage, right? I don't want to say reversed.
We've been I think we shot the same percent, right?
Yeah, I don't want to say reverse, but normally they in the games during the regular season they shot better than us. They're normally not going to shoot 25%. They missed 45 three-pointers today.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. They were 15 for 60. They missed 45 three-pointers today. They're going to continue to shoot a lot. I mean, they may not shoot 60, but they're going to continue to shoot a lot of three-pointers. You know, I thought the Knicks did a good job covering the three-point line, forced them to shoot some deep shots. Good job closing out. You didn't see that many people wide open, maybe a couple of times here and there, but they did a good job closing out. The switching of everything, you know, helped, although it did create some mismatches that the Celtics took advantage of. And the Knicks won by 3. If the Celtics shoot a little bit better, the Knicks shoot a little bit worse, where do we find the balance to be able to win still? I'm talking about from the three-point line. Because I'm assuming the Celtics are going to shoot better.
Well, when I had my show earlier, one of the things I talked about is assuming there was going to be a plus differential for the Celtics in three-point shooting was we got to find ways to offset that. So there's things tonight that we didn't do that I felt like we needed to do to offset if they were going to shoot the ball well, and that was not get out-rebound. You know what I mean? Out-rebound them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Cut the turnovers, which, you know, we had some horrible turnovers
in the first half
tonight. Yeah, especially in the first half.
Yeah, 5 in the first quarter.
Three of them specifically trying to get the ball to Mitch, and this was before the Hackett Mitch strategy. You know what I mean? So it was a compounded effort in that stretch of just 3 stupid passes to Mitchell Robinson. And then the Hackett Mitch. So I think there's a lot of things we could do to offset, you know, if it's reversed, just because I assumed it would be reversed. I assumed they'd be shooting, 53s and shooting a lot, like 35% or something like that, 36%.
36%.
So,
yeah. We definitely got to rebound better.
Defensive rebounds too. Close the possession,
and we got to stop freaking Drew Holiday and Derek White from just out hustling us and grabbing rebounds. I mean, obviously Josh Hart does that too, but you know, I was getting pissed off sometimes. Like, come on, we could have had this game closed out if we grab a couple of rebounds in regulation, and in overtime. I'm not complaining because we won, and I'm happy with the win. We win however we win, but we got out-rebounded by 10. It's been happening throughout the playoffs. I think with this team, we can do a better job, though.
Think about this, son. You said they shot 25%?
From the three-point line, yeah.
25%. I can think of at least 2 of their makes off of offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
So think about how bad they would have shot without that attempt that went in.
Right.
Right. Those 2. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So I mean, we got to secure those rebounds. We got to keep Derek White and Drew Holiday off the boards, though. I mean, Derek
and
White.
What'd you say Tatum had?
I mean, Derek White had. Let me see. For the game,
11. I think you said one of them had 11.
Derek White had 11 rebounds for the game. Drew Holiday had 6 rebounds for the game.
And did you say Tatum had 15 or 16?
Tatum
or
had
like
16.
That?
Tatum had 16.
Yeah,
rebounds.
see, that's huge. Like that was a conscious effort from their side of point of emphasis. You know what I mean? 15 rebounds for Tatum. That's huge. 11 for White. That's what I mean. Like, and White and Holiday looked like they was watching Josh Hart film, and it was like,
yeah,
right.
for real. We definitely got to do a better job on the boards. Let me get DJ Shuttle in here. DJ Shuttle, what's popping with you, brother?
Oh man, happy with the win, and you don't want to be too critical on a win, but you definitely want to see what you can improve on and come back with game 2, and definitely rebounding is one of them. Part of it, I think, is that the way Boston spreads out so much, and you're scrambling to cover, and the threat to the 3-point shooters. It's just a lot different than when you play most teams that don't shoot as much from 3-point range. Most teams don't have so many players that can dribble, penetrate, get to the hoop, and kick. So there's so much of switching and recovering and trying to get out to the shooters. You're just not in the same position that you're accustomed to being to get defensive rebounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I get that. I definitely get that. But, we got to find a way. Let me see. How many offense? They had 12 offensive rebounds tonight. Now, no, I'm sorry. They had 19 offensive rebounds tonight.
Right, and the Knicks had 12.
The Knicks had 12. I think we got to figure something out there. And a lot of them, I seen someone in the chat say long rebounds. There were a lot of long rebounds. They're shooting a lot of threes, so there's going to be long rebounds. We got to be a little quicker to the rebounds. Something else that worries me is their ability to leak out and transition off of rebounds. You know what I'm saying? We got to figure that out because that gives them, just easy points with zero effort. You know what I mean? To get
part of the leaking out though, Sam, I told Tom earlier on Knicks and Bruises, like we talked about, like, well, what is the takeaway from the Orlando series? Why they had such fewer shot attempts and 3-point shot attempts? And I watched at least 3 of those Orlando Celtics games, and there was a couple of things that they did. They really controlled the tempo, right? So they're not, even if they had the advantage, they're not running down and chucking up threes with 4 seconds off the shot clock.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they're running the clock down, and it was a strategic. Well, I saw it as a strategy to control the tempo of the game, minimize the possessions for Boston, and minimize their 3-point attempts, because if they don't have the ball, they can't shoot it. And that's something that I know part of the strategy of the Knicks playing well is that they play up tempo. Boston's a good defensive team. You really truly don't want to get them set up in position, but it's like, what's a real plus for you is also, kind of feeding into what works for them, which is you shooting quick, missing the shots, them leaking out on the break and getting easy baskets, whether it's, pull-up threes or just getting layups.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I think is the key for the Knicks. Is I understand you want to play fast, but it has to be organized confusion. Like if you got it, you got it. But if you don't, don't think you got it and then don't have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you gotta, there has to be court balance, and you have to be able to recognize it. And it can't be that you jack up a three quick, and then it's a long rebound, and then they running back, scoring a three or getting an easy layup at an N1 or something like that.
Yeah.
And a few times that absolutely happened today. That's a good stat. Fast break points. Yeah. That I didn't see, but I'm sure they led that also.
Let me see. The Knicks 10 fast break points. Boston's 8.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think the Knicks want to play fast because
me too.
Because Boston's half court defense with the Knicks, like you see Brunson, it was hard for him to penetrate to the basket, right? They're sagging so much into the paint. If Cat got the ball in the post, they're sagging in. Brunson has the ball on the perimeter. Even with Al Horford switched off onto him, they're sagging in, forcing Brunson to have to shoot the three over Al Horford. You know what I'm saying? And they know Brunson wants to go left, so they find a way to get him isolated to the right side of the floor, and then they have someone like Derek White or Jrue Holiday sagging into that left side. So now Brunson can't penetrate to the left because there's somebody there. You know what I mean? And the Knicks want to play fast because they're playing that quads. It's a man, but it's almost like a zone. Which is tough to break.
Yeah. What's the name of that zone? Oh man, I forget it. I used to play that zone a lot too.
2-3.
A box like a box and one almost.
Box and one, almost.
Yeah, it's like a box and one almost, where it's like we kind of in the zone, but we focusing on you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And basically, when Brunson has the ball, that's what they do. I mean, same thing with Cat. When Cat has the ball, they're still sagging deep into the paint. You know what I mean? There's no illegal defense anymore, right? So they're sagging deep into the paint. So it makes it hard to be able to penetrate. And then they're still in position to close out on a shooter.
Well, you mentioned Cat. Kudos to the Knicks. Cat didn't have a great game, but there definitely were several times where they recognized him in the post.
Yep.
And whether he made a shot or not, my point is, like, you gotta at least feed it and figure it out, see what happens.
Yeah.
And they definitely did that. After the last game, and this will be my last point, Sim, and I'll jump. We talked about takeaways, going into the next series, and one of my takeaways and what I was hoping the team would do is, you look at this Detroit team, which had a better record against you in the regular season, but that didn't matter. And one of our takeaways was, well, listen, it's 0-0 now. We in the playoffs, and now we're gonna go against Boston, and and the regular season record won't mean a thing. So, here we are, where the money talks, and it's 1-0 Knicks up, and we take it from here. Let's go Knicks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Shuttle, I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
No doubt. Peace.
I got.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just thinking how much stuff we overcame in this game with the 20-point lead. Or 20-point deficit.
Mm-hmm.
The Hack-a-Mitch strategy. Cat was in foul trouble. Brunson was in foul trouble at a point. Hart was in foul trouble. Mikal wasn't shooting the ball well. Like, there's so much stuff that we literally overcame in this one game that I don't know if we've overcome this stuff collectively in one game in the past. You know what I mean? Like, we've overcame all these little things, but to have it all happen in one game,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, let's talk about coaching. Right, let's talk about some key decisions, some key plays. I don't know where you want to start.
You want to bring that super chat back up? I know you said you'd get back to it, but that's then somebody referenced that,
Yeah, we did.
giving him
Let
credit,
me see
right?
where
Giving
it
him
was
credit.
giving him credit. If I could find it, I don't know where it went. Somewhere in there. Yeah, I'll bring it back up. But what's your? Oh, here it is, right here. Greedy Grizz. Wondering if the chat is going to give Tibbs his credit for the game plan the players actually executed today. So let's talk about the game plan. What did you see as being the game plan for today that the Knicks executed?
Defend the three.
Defended three. Chase them off the 3-point line. They did that by switching.
Yep.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie though. There was a lot of times throughout the game where it looked funky, like the way Brunson was hedging, and then sometimes he was hedging and then on the island didn't know he was on the island. You know what I mean? Like he's still. So I guess the switch never happened, like because basically he was hedging and then recovering, right?
So sometimes
that what you seen?
Sometimes
that's what I seen.
Sometimes he would hedge and then recover so he wouldn't be stuck on Jason Tatum. Sometimes they just had to do the switch.
I don't know if he I don't know if he knew which time was happening every time.
Yeah, and that's that's the hallmark of not having that chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Like this, it's like, okay, here's something that we're putting in, for the team. So
you think that was new?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was new, a strategic move for the series.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And
that's one thing I noticed for sure.
Yeah, and that's where, you'll be a little confused. You know what I'm saying?
And to be honest, there was times, this is why it does make sense that it's new. Not only did Brunson look confused at times, where he was on the island and maybe didn't know, like because he thought the switch was still coming, or maybe that was because the other teammate or the other team's guy was moving away from Tatum, which was causing him to be on the island.
And it could, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that might have been their adjustment. But there was times also where Tatum he looked confused. So he was unsure. Like he might have had an advantage and didn't realize it yet.
Right.
So it probably wasn't new for both teams.
Yeah. And they're both going to go look at, Tibbs. They're going to look at the tape and say, all right, how can we do this better? And Boss is going to look and say, what were they doing and how do we exploit it?
Yeah, I thought they missed a couple of times where they could have exploited it, where Tatum was kind of too slow to react or attack.
Mm-hmm.
But
but I thought they did a good job trying to run them off the line. That was obviously part of the game plan. Try not to let them get as many open 3-point baskets. Make them have to shoot it off the dribble if they're going to shoot it. Going inside with Karl Anthony Towns, we seen it right from the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? How'd you feel about that? Because
Uncle
Fulio told us Cat can't do it.
Sam, I've been asking for it all year long. I thought, and not just like to do it as a use him as a post player all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm saying strategically. If you're going to put Tobias Harris on me, I'm going in. I mean, if you're going to put Drew Holiday on me, I don't care if he's all defense. I can shoot over you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're gonna have to double and then not read and react off that.
Yeah.
That was my point. You know what I mean? Not turn him into a post player.
Yeah. But Karl Anthony
and take away his strength.
Yeah.
But use that as a strength.
Cat tonight took 1 3-pointer. Right? 1 3-pointer. He made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 baskets. 4 of those baskets were in the paint. The 5th basket was in the mid corner, like the dunker spot, right? And he was posting though, and it was a turnaround fadeaway. He caught it and automatically spun and turned around. That was that shot right there.
I think that was his second bucket in a row at that point.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Everything else was inside. He only took 1, 2, 3 shots outside of the paint. I think he took 14 shots for the game. Only 3 of them came outside of the paint. Every other shot came inside the paint. And if it wasn't for, the foul trouble, he would have had more shot attempts. You know what I mean? He only took, only took 3 shots outside the paint. I think that's got to be a good strategy. You're gonna have Jaylen Brown on him. He's taller than Jaylen Brown. Let him shoot over Jaylen Brown. The one thing that I did get mad, I was just a little bit mad at that offensive foul he picked up on Drew Holiday. I was like, why are you going into him? Just shoot over top of him.
Yep.
He's a little dude to you. He's
he was
strong,
upset. He was upset from the previous
Yeah.
And you got to control that.
Yep, control that. You know what I'm saying? Shoot over top of him. You got the height advantage. He's not going to block your shot. Shoot a jump hook over top of him or whatever it is. You got every move down there in your arsenal. You know what I mean? Shoot over top of him, knock it down, bam. You know what I mean? He'll learn. And he'll come back next game and do it.
This was so encouraging, man. The fact that we did not play our greatest.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that they got Cat inside. I also they started doing this in Detroit, game 6, game 5 too. But, getting Brunson moving off the ball, and let Cat find him. You're seeing Brunson, curl around in the paint, come back to get the ball. You know what I mean? Against Detroit, a couple slashes to the basket. Karl Anthony Towns found them. I think we got to do more of that so he doesn't have to do so much creation off the dribble.
Even the play out of the timeout, the potential game winner.
Yeah. Yep.
Beautiful play.
And let's talk about coaching there. Let's talk about coaching and execution there, right? Because the Knicks didn't have a timeout left, which means 2 plays were called up in the huddle. Right? So they called up 2 plays just in case. You know what I mean? You got the first play, whatever. We had to take the ball out again.
Well, no, that was the last. They called their last timeout.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. They called their last timeout because Brunson wasn't the original inbounder.
Right, but I don't think they called a timeout. It was they tried to get the ball to Brunson because they had called the timeout because it was only 5. They called the timeout before that because it was still only 5 seconds left, right? And I think someone tapped it out of bounds or whatever it was, and so only a couple of milliseconds came off the clock, and so then Brunson took the ball out of bounds.
It was down to 5 seconds. It was 5 point something, and then it went down to 5.
Down to 5 seconds, right? And then Brunson took it out, so there had to be 2 plays called up in the huddle. You know what I'm saying? And they executed the second play perfectly, just didn't make it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People talk about coaching. I mean, that's coaching. I don't, maybe it wasn't Tibbs who called it. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Tibbs who drew it up. I don't know. It could have been, it was an intentional foul. Yeah, Kevin, it was an intentional foul. On the first play, it was an intentional foul.
Yeah, they had a foul to give.
Yeah, they had a foul to give. So they even strategized about that. Hey, they got a foul to give. They'll probably give the foul. Here's the next play.
It's the real play.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Here's the next one. You know what I mean? And, so, people complain about coaching, but that was a good coaching move. He could have taken Mitch out earlier.
That's the one thing I was mad about.
Right? Because I tweeted, at some point I tweeted and I was like, it's time to take Mitch out the game and put Precious in. And then I looked up and Precious was at the Precious was at the table.
That's how you know he was there for a minute.
Yeah, right. That's how I know because I looked up and I seen him standing there.
Because I was just like, yo, you waited too long, bro. You know what I mean? Like what are you doing? They're gonna keep doing this. And Mitch is my guy. You know what I mean? And I like you said, he definitely shot him. It didn't look like he was affected. It didn't look like he was pouting or down. Like he thought he could make him.
Yeah. Canberry.
I wonder how much he works on, how well he does on free throws in practice. If Tibbs had confidence that he works on it and he shows it in practice.
Yeah. That joint is flat as a mug. That joint is super flat. I don't know how much. I mean, hopefully he's working on it, but it's mad flat. Canberry said, too many excuses for the highest paid player in the league. Cat didn't play well enough. Listen, you're right. He could have played better. You know what I mean? I'll say this. When it wasn't going for him, he didn't force it and just try to, throw up bad shots and this and that. You know what I'm saying? It happened last game in Detroit too. I think in the fourth, he got a big putback in the fourth. In the first half, he made some, he had it going in the first half. Let's see if he rebounds after this game, if you want to call it a rebound. He had his 13 rebounds tonight. How many assists did he have? I forgot. He had no assists tonight. He had his 13 rebounds, had a steal, 14 points. Okay. But we won the basketball game. You know what I mean? I'm going to settle in on that, and let's hope that he makes a turnaround. Right. But I like what Tibbs did today. And I know there's people. I'm looking at the star stuff. I don't even know what's in the chat right now. I'm pretty sure Sean and Greg and whoever else is mad, throwing tomatoes or whatever. That's okay. I'll take that.
I'll be honest, Tim. I haven't seen him in there.
Okay.
I haven't seen him today after this one.
Yeah. All right. Good. I see Sean is in there.
I seen him earlier.
Yeah, Sean is in there. Jay Boogie, what's popping with you, bro? How you feeling? Boogie, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, my brother. I was just watching the TV, man. Shout out to everything that you're doing. Shout out to the chat. Everybody should be celebrating. Everybody should be feeling good. Shout out to you, Mr. Sim, a.k.a. Mr. Ron O'Neal, the Superfly, the podcast. See you with, you know what I'm saying, your partner in crime, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Tony Cole, a.k.a. the young Richard Pryor, man. Everybody should be happy and appreciated this win because I don't care nothing about the regular season. Regular season don't win championships. Regular season only just give you a chemistry and a way to build yourself and get towards where we at right now. Right now, we're in the playoffs, and it's first 1 to 16. But right now, we only need 9, and only 2 of those teams need 9. That's all we need is 9 more. But I'm going to take this victory, and I'm going to celebrate this victory because what this going to mean the rest of this series, that we are capable of beating these guys. What my man say to Rocky, you know what I'm saying, when he cut him, see, I told you, he's not a machine. He is a man. They are ball players. They put their uniforms on just like we put our uniforms on. I hear y'all talking about the line drive free throw shot, about Mr. Mitch. Okay, but I'm going to say shout out to Mr. Mitch because he gave us a big time leveling up for this game when nobody didn't know what was going on. He was mic'd up and all he kept saying, if you heard the mic, we've been here before. Come on. That's what he kept saying. And you know what? You're right. We've been there before. Come on. Let's get it together. You know what I'm saying? And when the second half came, we had another amazing third quarter, just like we had in Game 6 against Detroit. And let me find out our third quarters is getting better than what they've been all regular season. And they're starting to come out there out the gates and they're off and handling their business. You know what I'm saying? But shout out Mr. Brunson. He came out of that game and he came back in. He's a big time clutch player. They don't want to get his guys props. But you don't beat the Joker, and you don't beat Ant-Man to win an award. That's what we beat out for being clutch player of the year. You know what I'm saying? It's so many different revenues I can speak upon this game right there. But more importantly, this is a team win. TEAM. Together, everybody always matter. Shout out to Tom for what he did. Even sitting Brunson down in the first quarter, giving him a rest, you know what I'm saying, when he normally don't give him a rest. A lot of things went on. Shout out to, you know what I'm saying, Bridges. You know what I'm saying? He ain't been having the best offensive performance, but when the game's on the line, he makes some crucial shots. When the game is on the line, he makes some crucial plays. He makes some crucial steals. That's what it's about. Forget what you missing there early in the game, but when you can make big-time plays, not just a bucket, but big-time plays, when the game is on the line, that makes you even that more involved as a player, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mr. Hart. What did he do? Come from behind that curtain. But when he came back into the game for the first quarter, nights like this, I wish that raindrops would fall. Yeah, that only one heartbeat came back and entered the game like the Terminator, doing what he got to do, man. I love the team. I love where we at. But now that the game is over tonight, I need to move on to the next game. I need 2-0. I need Allen Houston. I need Michael Ray Richardson. That 20, that 2-0. Bring it back to the building. I don't even call that Boston Arena the Garden. I don't want to hear nobody call that no more. Ain't but one Garden. It's Madison, and it's the world's famous arena. Bring them back to the building, and let's handle our business. Continue on doing what we're doing. All along, I was up on Mr. Ron's show earlier on Saturday, and I told him, yo, it's already 1-0. You know what I'm saying? It's already 1-0. They don't believe what I'm saying. I'm winning this thing here 6. I need 5 C's. 5 C's, and I already got 2 of them. When 5 C's is when Leon named this man the captain. When the league named him clutch player. Number 3 is the Celtics. After that is Cleveland, if they still there. Number 5 is the championship. I'm on 5 C's walkathon this year, and I believe and have faith in the team. It can happen, man. Shout out to the team, everything they do. Shout out to everybody, you know what I'm saying, that's viewing. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share the network, you know, call a friend, tell a friend, bring a friend. And Mr. Sims and Tony, y'all keep doing what you're doing. Salute, 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 3 capital S's. But nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall.
Jay Boogie, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Jay Boogie. The one and only. There's only one of them. And that was him right there. It's only one. You know what I mean? Only one. Who's your player of the game, Tony? For tonight? Because, you know, you could choose.
It's tough. It's tough because, you know, Brunson did his thing, but he did have some missed clutch opportunities, right? Mm-hmm. And then OG really held us down when Brunson was not playing well. You know what I mean? Before Brunson kind of turned it on. But ultimately, Brunson did turn it on in the 4th. You know what I mean? He just didn't close it out in the 4th. It's tough, bro.
It is tough. It's tough.
It's tough because it's not even just them. Mikal with the stop at the end.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And the big Cat with the big tip in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that we overcame. I'm gonna go with Tibbs. If I can't say that, like the collective,
okay,
I'm gonna just go with Tibbs.
Okay,
I'm gonna say Tibbs in a game where it looked like he was being outcoached. You know what I mean? And it looked like he stuck with his guns. He stuck with his strategy, and then he made the adjustment when he had to. You know what I mean? Even though I thought it was too late. And then, you know, the team believes in them. They figured out a way to win. I got to credit Tibbs. So I'm gonna go with Tibbs.
It is tough because there's a lot of heroes. You know, a lot of heroes, but I'm gonna go with OG because I feel like OG, you know, Brunson made big shots, but I feel like OG made some big shots too. I feel like he carried us when Brunson wasn't hitting, you know, to keep the Knicks there. Then he made some big shots down the stretch, you know, some big threes, you know. So I'm going to go with OG, but, you know, a lot of guys contributed in a lot of ways. Mikal Bridges knocked down a big 3 in overtime, and that was desperately needed. You know, Josh Hart, 14 points, 11 rebounds. You know what I mean? You know, had some tough buckets. Obviously, some scrappy rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals for Josh Hart. You know.
And 51 minutes for Mikal?
51 minutes for Mikal Bridges.
You know what I mean? 51 minutes. Josh Hart played through foul trouble. Cat played through foul trouble.
Yeah, we had
it's
nobody.
It's hard to find your rhythm in those type of games. Yep. When you can't get a rhythm, you got to find a moment.
And we got those fouls early in the game.
Brunson in foul trouble as well.
Brunson, a little bit of foul trouble. You know, and you know, in the second half when the Knicks went on the run, Tibbs didn't just, you know, he let them play. He let them go on a run. Brunson got some extended time on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because the Knicks were going on a run, got back in the game. You know, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But I'm going with OG for player of the game. Going with OG. How scared do you think the Celtics are? How nervous do you think they are? Right
I think they still believe in themselves.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't. So you know what I mean. So I don't think this was like a reality check at all. I think the last game of the season, even though you know regular season is different, whatever. I think that is what opened their eyes to say, all right, they real. You know what I mean? I think game 1 of the regular season, they wanted to set a message right out the gate, right? all the noise was, oh, they built for the Celtics, assembled to compete against the Celtics.
Mhm.
So they proved they point the first game. I think the other 2 games after that, they kind of was like, all right, man, we got them. We, you know what I mean? Like the third one, I think that's when they realized we for real. And now they know it's gonna be a battle. I don't think they overlooked us coming into the season, coming into
to the
this
series.
series. Yeah, I don't think so at all. Everything they were saying. Now, granted, this is cliche and the right thing to say, but everything they were saying was respect. You know what I mean? Everything they were saying was the regular season's different from the playoffs. You know what I mean? And they just was a little battle tested in the last series, so, like similar to what we were.
Right.
So they know we they know who we are.
Yeah. I think they're listen, they're a veteran. They've been here before, so I don't think they're like, oh my gosh, I think they're looking at it and say if we shoot better from the 3-point line, it's a different game.
We win next game.
Now we win next game.
That's gonna change. That's gonna change. They go to the Garden down 0-2, the real Garden down 0-2.
Now they're
gonna feel a little different.
Yeah, now they're nervous.
The Garden's gonna feel a little different.
Now they're nervous because they go down. They come to Madison Square down 0-2. They're worried on that trip there, and they're gonna come out desperate.
It's one thing to think, oh, we just gotta get one. You know what I mean? Then to go and like, oh, we gotta have both of them.
Two.
There's no oh, I'm just looking at the next game. No, you come into the Garden saying, I gotta win both.
We gotta get two. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that changes things.
Yeah. They gotta be a little nervous. I mean, I do think they're looking at saying if we shoot better from the 3-point line, it's a different game. They're not going to continue to shoot 25% from the 3-point line. I think they're looking at that. I think they're looking and probably saying, look how hard they had to play. Scrappy, can they keep that up the entire series? Can they play that hard the entire series? So they're probably looking at that as well. They're a veteran team. But they're going to come out in game 2, with a vengeance. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks got to withstand that storm and then stabilize. If they come out and go crazy, the Knicks got to withstand it, stabilize, and stay steady.
I think that's the great part about it, though. I think advantage is more in our favor. You know what I mean? Because again, number one, the objective should be let's try to get up big early, right?
Mm-hmm.
Considering the full outcome of today's game, right? We acknowledge free throw shooting and percentage played a huge factor in the game even going into overtime or the point differential of the game.
Yeah.
So I think, I think I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I think we good, man. I don't think it changes. Changes with how we approach it.
So great game, great win from the Knicks. I think I agree with Nick from Jersey. It's one of the best playoff wins I've seen in a long time. You know what I'm saying? And we're up 1-0. You know what I mean?
That's tough to say considering it wasn't a great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't a great game, but it was a great win. You know what I'm saying? So, for the Knicks, we got to, we still in the running to sweep. And the Celtics could get swept. I'm not saying they will. What I'm saying is, it's still a possibility. For the Knicks, it's not a possibility. So for the Knicks, it's going at least 5 games. For the Celtics, it's a possibility. It's still possible that they could get swept. So, let's put them, like Kevin is saying, let's put them in an uncomfortable position. See how they respond to that.
Here's the funny part. If we lost this game, we could say, hey, we didn't play our best basketball.
Right.
They lost the game and they saying the same thing. You know what I mean?
Saying the same
So
thing.
we won the game not playing our best. I think the advantage is really ours, no matter if they shoot better, because we could have shot better. We shot well.
Yeah, I mean, we shot really well from the 3-point line.
We I'll say this: we could have shot more.
Yeah, we shot
you know what I mean?
46% from the 3-point line, 17 for 37. Yeah.
Think about it. You said Cat took 1 3?
Cat took
or
one.
no threes?
1 3. Cat took 1 3.
Bridges
0 for 1.
made 1, right?
Bridges made 1. 2.
You know what
He
I mean?
made
So
2.
this is
Bridges made 2. He was 2 for 5.
okay, 2 for 5. So that's what I mean when I say like we still could have shot better.
Let me see.
Hart made 2. What was he? 2 for 3?
Deuce was 3 for 6. Brunson 5 for 9. Bridges 2 for 5. Cat 0 for 1. Josh Hart was 1 for 5. And OG was 6 for 11 from the 3-point line.
So yeah, that's what that. OG, I expect that to stay the same. It was a great contribution from Deuce. We've been waiting for that. You know what I mean? I will take that moving forward. I think we got a lot to
we're in a great spot.
Still build on.
Yeah, we're in a great spot. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your time. I'm gonna get up out of here. Look for a notification coming real soon. Ladies and gentlemen. Great win tonight. We're out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.